Use this one?
Huh?
Can we use this one?
Yeah. And then
Shot and beer.
no, just a shot. May be hard to open. Whew, what's happening, folks? I'm still a little late. I'll explain that in a bit. So, be right back. Check in. All right, Scott, Shelly, Steve, what's happening? Hey, give me a few seconds. I'll be right back. Top it all the way to the top. Yeah, let me cut lid off. Whew, I'm back. Okay. I'm working on it, Scott. I'm working on it. I got a little bit here. Just can't see them. I got this going. Just running way behind today. There we go. We get a little bit more of the table, so I'll get another one going here in a little bit. Kevin Wagner, what's happening? What's up, Court? Is better. Yeah, man, we got a whole Texas crew going. Hey, Scott, I saw your little private message earlier about your meeting, so maybe give me a holler tonight after the deal. I'd like to talk to you and see what's up. Sorry for running late today, folks, but I had to make a mad dash to Oklahoma City and back with one of my sons. We bought a fishing kayak from one of Des's friends, so we had to pick that up and haul it back. So Newcastle for you, Scott. Enjoy that one. It's not a light, huh? Thank you, sir. You're there. All right. That's good. Thank you. Hey, what's up?
Are you doing your thing?
I'm doing my thing, yeah.
Oh,
All right. So one of my kids is bringing me drinks, and the other one's checking into, I don't know, he wanted something. So okay. I think I can do this without my glasses. I took big notes today. So first, welcome again. Sorry I'm late. Had to run to OKC and grab a fishing kayak and come back. So I got a good deal on a used one from a friend, and so my kids are all into fishing. So this one's got like the holders and stuff. So it's not just a regular kayak. So super cool and a good deal. So again, Corey White, Wizard, weekly Wizard update. Got several things to talk about today. I'm going to kind of change my subject. I was hoping to be in Oklahoma City to be able to kind of hang out and do a remote broadcast, but I couldn't get it worked out. Was going to talk with Jeremy Collins to talk about NICA, and I had a really crazy day. We had a power outage this morning here in Hobart that lasted about 10 or 15 minutes, and that screwed up my network at school. And so even though I technically don't have to go back until Thursday, I ended up working, and so that kind of screwed up my whole day, my plan. So I'm kind of been behind the curve all day and still am. So because of that, I didn't link up with Jeremy. I didn't get the information that I needed from Jeremy Tagan and our contacts in Tulsa. So I'm going to wait until I have data on that. So maybe next time I'll talk to them and get the information, and I'll just do a broadcast from home. So most of mine will be from home from here on out, although most of them are anyway, because I have to go back to work Thursday. So let's see. Angela Stacy, Cook checked in. Daryl Stilson, what's happening? Mark Feet Goal and Dylan Postier. So what's happening, guys? Glad you checked in. So just a quick update. I'm going to just do some updates on some things going on. Some events we've talked about in past ones, in past updates. I'm going to continue to talk about those because they're upcoming dates. I'm going to talk about the upcoming Tour de Dirt season, or the finale, the final 3 races. They're upcoming and just around the corner. And the subject change that I'm going to talk about, I think there might have been a few questions I saw on Facebook. I'm going to have to go out and look at those in a minute. If I get a kind of a gap in here, I didn't really have a chance to look at those. I just briefly saw them, but I mean, I literally flew straight into the door, grabbed my camera, plugged it in. I didn't even unload the car, so I was running so far behind. And then I'm going to finish with a topic that I actually got from a friend of mine, and it's something I've been thinking about off and on, and I talk about all the time, but honestly, I've never thought about it as a subject. And so I thought I'll just bring it up, and it is all the different software applications, whether it be on our computer or phone apps that we use for cycling, and some good ones and why we use them. I'm sure there's a lot that you guys use that I don't, but I want to go ahead and toss out a list of things that are in my space. And then if you guys have some comments about things that you guys use, you can chime in at that point. But that'll be the main topic that I'll do last. Dylan, yeah, I'll talk about that. And man, I tell you what, honestly, I don't have a lot of details. I know we talked about that. I have not done my research. So if you want to post like dates and anything like that, just generics on how that's, how it's going to play out, the short track championship, shoot it up here. That way I can read it and I'll talk about it. And then as soon as the flyer is live, we'll just post the crap out of it everywhere on all of our social media sites. And I will actually probably post a link to it at my next week on my update. And that way we have a live flyer for that. So Amy Peyton Bean, what's happening? Gabe Edmonds, Lisa Norris. Hey, thumbs up, Lisa. Lisa actually kind of kicked off this idea for my subject tonight. And so thanks for that. Matt Rogers as well. What's going on, Matt? So that's the topic list. So I'm going to go ahead and just dive right into it and start with just the things that are coming up, events and dates. And somebody dropped me a hotter than hell date. I know it's the whole weekend. I keep forgetting to research that. And I know it's typically in August and it's upcoming. So is that this coming weekend or is it in 2 weeks? I don't know. So shoot me, just somebody that can look that up for me or knows, just post a date for hotter than hell out here for me. And we'll talk about that. I'm personally not going to do it. I don't think. I haven't done it in a while. I mean, it's fun and it's cool. If you've never done it, I definitely recommend going to check it out. But for me, it's kind of a been there, done that. And, so I haven't done it in a few years. But yeah, anyway. So I think Lisa posted August 25th. So it's going to be the weekend of the 25th. I don't know when the 25th falls, but they have Friday night crit races and a mountain bike race, and Saturday 100-miler, and then different distances. And then I think Sunday they even have some morning crits, as well as if you do the triple, they have the half marathon on Sunday as well too. So yeah, Scott, I know, right? Scott's putting a little poo face on Hotter than Hell 100. So, and he's one of our Texas boys. 23rd through 26th. Thank you, Angela. So we've had several people post a date. So cool. Thank you. So anyway, so that's Hotter than Hell. That's further in August. Again, I know there'll be several groups going down there. Again, not something I'm digging, but maybe a few will. So Clint Locke, what's happening, brother? So tonight, maybe some of you guys can post if you're done with it, but I guess they were supposed to have a mountain bike scratch race of some sort. I'm not sure how that played out. I was going to try to make it, but just couldn't get it. Just couldn't get it to happen. Like I said, my schedule got all screwed up, and I was going to try to go do, and I was going to possibly even do remote from down there, and I was thinking about doing remote from Anthem, but they close at 9, and I couldn't get my hotspot to work, so I was thinking about doing live. I don't know. So I just couldn't get shit to work today for me schedule wise. So I just came home and started late. So anyway, so Wheeler. So I mean, if you guys, I know a lot of you guys did that. So just you guys can give us a little shout out and talk about your experience tonight, and if any of you did the mountain bike scratch race, give us a little heads up on how it was. So. I'm not a big fan of the scratch race. I did one of those one time at Wheeler like 3 or 4 years ago, and it's like, if you slip up or mess up one time and you're the last in the pack, you get pulled. So it's like, you pay $20 and maybe get 2 laps in if you're in like a super fast group. So I was like, and I was in a super fast group, so I was like, that's just a waste of money. But anyway, Dylan, I'll get to that information shortly. I'm just going to leave it there. You guys can see that Dylan's posted some information about the short track state championship. So you guys check that out. Have any comments or questions, go ahead and hit him up. In the meantime, I'm going to continue on, and then I'm going to come back to that in just a jiffy. Cleo, what's happening? Cleo from Tulsa checked in. Let's see. So that was tonight. So Buchanan's team warm up and that whole crew, I think, is the one they're doing. As you know, they're doing with Wheeler. They're doing a monthly host. So some shop and or teams are taking on each month, and that is Buchanan's this month. And then I think their team warm up helps them a little with that as well. Next month is Bike Lab. So Bike Lab will be out there. I haven't really talked to Jeremy and the guys at the shop to see what the plan is, what the big cool things are. So I don't know. I'll try to hit those guys up this coming week and see what they have, any big plans. And so I'm sure Tony Stewart and Jeremy and Corey and Ryan and everybody, I'm sure they've been doing some behind the scene work already, and they're getting a plan. So we'll see. But I'll talk to them and I'll try to talk next week on what they have coming up about that. So anyway, so that's upcoming with Wheeler. I still haven't yet to make one. Not sure if I'm capable of doing that at this point. So I don't know. I'm riding pretty good, but I don't think I can put out power like that. I definitely can't sprint. I definitely can't I can put out consistent power, but I can't really risk serious hard torque right now. So howdy back at you, Cleo. Glad you're checking in. Moonshine Madness. Roman knows. I went out and did a work day. And then Tegan and her big crew came out the next weekend and did a bigger work day and knocked that whole place out. So it's looking good. I mean, I don't know the details, but I think they have about a 4-ish mile course. I think it's going to be hard. Just walking it when we were working it. The direction we're going, there's going to be some climbs. There's going to be a couple places I think people have to walk. Now, the geared guys can maybe climb some stuff, but I mean, definitely some places that I couldn't ride with my single speed, especially with my janky knee right now. But I think it's going to be a fun little loop. It's going to be a fun course, good event, and it's ready to be ridden. I think we're going to go out this weekend and ride it actually. So we've got one open weekend. Because we're not going anywhere this weekend, even though there are some things happening this weekend. I don't think there's too much locally, but I think we're headed to Roman Nose to do some pre-riding probably Saturday. I don't know. I don't have a plan yet. I'll try to get a plan and maybe post that up on some of my pages. So maybe we can get a really big crew out there and just have a ball out there and just beat that trail in. There's a couple of old sections that we're going to use. And it's really cool because I haven't seen those sections in so many years. And I came up on one section and I could just vividly recall some horrible memory from like early 2000s when I was out there caught in the rain on Bubba's Loop on some whoop-de-doos down in the bottom. We haven't raced that part of the race in for many years, but I could vividly recall this one climb where I actually couldn't walk up it or ride up it. I had to go into the grass, push my bike up and then I used my bike and limbs to drag myself up because it was so slippery that I couldn't even. I was just like sliding down. So anyway, but it's obviously it's dry and it's good right now. So, but let's get some tires on it this weekend. Beat that thing down and make it really good and solid and smooth, and make a good race loop for it. So, Scott, I honestly don't know much. All I know is that they're going by month for Wheeler Crit, and that means that August is Bike Lab's month. So that means we'll get 4 weeks every Tuesday. Tuesday is Wheeler Crit. That's why it's hard for me, because I'm doing my live broadcast at 8:30. So the only way for me to actually go do it would be to broadcast live from down there. And I've not found a good way to do that. I tried my hotspot on my phone and my laptop, and that didn't work. The signal was crap. The only way for me to do it would be to just do it live with my phone. And honestly, I could do that. I've never tried it. So it might be something that I have to do if I do it live from there. But anyway, it's going to be every Tuesday, and I can link you up with there's a web page that has the start times and all that, or a Facebook page. So we'll need to find that, and we'll get some information out about that, especially next week. And I'll try to get to you before that, since next Tuesday, will be the first week of that. So David Copeland, what's going on? Brent White checked in. Jerry Puckett checked in. Hunter Farrington checked in. Dustin Easter checked in again. And Forrest Smith, our Wisco and still native Oklahoman, even though he's out in Wisconsin. Okay, so yeah, Moonshine Madness is August 11th. So got that date down. Roman knows, be there. It's going to be super cool. It's the final and third race of the series, and they'll have not only the race awards, but we'll have the series awards. So, if you guys are in a series hunt, Tanner Colbreth, who's been doing the timing, has posted on the Moonshine Madness Endurance Race Series Facebook group or Facebook event. I'm not sure if it's a group or event. I click on it. I haven't really paid much attention. So, hey, stop. The dog's making noise again. Sorry. Lisa Zimmerman, how are you? And yeah, Forrest, I love that you're stalking from Wisconsin, bro. That's awesome. All right, so bring it. Roman knows Moonshine Madness. So a couple of other events that are out of state that are, I've just really been pubbing these mainly because we were there a few weeks ago, and plus we've got some friends in that area. But in the Angel Fire, New Mexico, Cimarron area, there are a couple of events, a couple of events going on. The first one is going to be I think it's the Zia Big Ride. It's called the Zia Big Ride, and it's the South Boundary race. We actually did two portions of it. We did the opening portion, which is just an Angel Fire, starting somewhere near Angel Fire Resort, and then going through some of the lower trails that are super easy, and then jumping into some super crappy hard climbs just in the neighborhoods on the gravel roads up and down the where the housing additions are, and then linking up onto one of the trails that's a junction trail out over to near one of the passes. I can't remember all the names now because it's been a couple weeks and I'm really rushed. I didn't take very good notes, but then obviously you get over the South Boundary and you blaze all the way down to Taos, and then you can have someone pick you up, or you can pay an extra $25 and have a shuttle back. So sounds like a really super cool event, and the couple of portions that I rode of it, I really enjoyed. I didn't get to ride majority of it just because I wasn't ready physically when I was there. But Stephen and Desiree rode it and just had a hell of a time. You should have seen the look on their face, and the smile when they finished and rolled off into the last checkpoint. They were so stoked after all that downhill and that bomb. For just miles and miles downhill to Taos. So they had a great time. So August 4th, which is, you better be prepared. That's this coming weekend. So the next one is one that we've talked about and really been pubbing up, and that's because our friends, Aaron and Colin Tawney from Tulsa and fellow cyclists, people that many of us know, just recently moved out. And like I said, they have a Blue Dragon Fly bed and breakfast, as well as they're opening a barbecue restaurant, which I think is opening probably this week. And they're still waiting for their final license. And so they're going to have a restaurant and a brewery with their own home brewed beers. And they are they are promoting a gravel race. So they're trying to draw some tourism to the Cimarron area, which is about 50 minutes from Angel Fire. It's through the pass and around the mountain on the other side of the mountain. And so they're trying to draw some more tourism back their way into the Cimarron area. And they've got some really cool gravel stuff. We did a little portion of and this is called the Cimarron Challenge. We did a portion of that trail and really enjoyed the trail, but honestly didn't have a really good time. But it wasn't anything to do with the terrain. It's just we had some weirdness with the weather and the temperature, and we had these stupid biting flies that just ate the shit out of us. I mean, it was horrible. So we were basically racing each other home just to get out of the flies. So it was really strange. You don't expect that there. I mean, I expect that out in the sticks where I live in the country near the farms and stuff, but we didn't expect that there in New Mexico. So, but I'm sure that's not going to be a problem during the race. Those things are very seasonal. So it's like one day there's flies and the next day they're not. So it'd be all good. So, but anyway, Cimarron Challenge, August 25th. It is going to be a party. They are providing food. They're providing an after party with food, and that's all included in your fee. There are going to be 4 rest stops that are fully stocked throughout that. A lot of this is on private land that is not accessible during the normal normal ride. So you're going to see some terrain that you normally wouldn't. And then there's just some really cool gravel ride and gravel scenery. And yeah, I mean, it's going to be a super cool event, and it'd be great to see a bunch of Oklahomans go up. I'm still not sure what I'm doing on that day, but I don't know. It's going to be hard for us to make it, I think. But man, I sure would love to get up there and try that, because I think I could. I think physically I'm ready for a gravel ride. I don't think that I can knock out something too much, but I think I can knock this out. I've been doing some gravel, and I think we'll see if it happens. But I'd love to see some Oklahomans go up there and just show our support for Aaron and Colin. Tegan checked in. Joshua Potts, what's happening, brother? And Kevin Snyder, what's going on? Glad to see you guys checked in. So that's really all I have for dates, except the next big subject is, I figure we're getting close, so it's about time to start talking about it. Our Tour de Dirt season. I've been talking about other things, and we've kind of been on our summer break, but it's time to start thinking about it. We've got 3 races coming up. We have Tour de Lizard, Ark City, Arkansas. We've got Lake Carl Blackwell and just outside of Stillwater, and then we've got our season finale. And speaking of season finale, just as I said that, guess who checked in? Joanne Kovac Roberts. What's happening, Joanne? So when we're looking at our dates of September 2nd, September 9th, and then we've got a couple weeks off. I'm not sure the math there. Yeah, 1 week off. And then we do 9/22nd, 9/23rd. Still looking at, not sure what our St. Crispin's weekend is going to look like, but we're still possibly looking at 2 dates, 2-day event. I'm not sure what we're going to do, but we'll work out details with Joanne and Mike. So we'll let all you guys know. We still got some time. So, yeah. So I saw where, Bobby Smith up in Ark City has been doing some trail work. He's been doing some mowing, and so it looks like they're starting to get that course dialed in. It's a course, technical-wise, is harder, but work-wise, it reminds me of T-Bird a lot, and that is because of the terrain. It grows over a lot in sections, and so it just requires a lot of manpower to get it clear and get it clean. That's why T-Bird you typically, I think our team warm-up folks are really only maintaining certain portions just because there's so much trail, and because of the growth, it's just too hard to stay on top of during the summer. So we wait until the fall and really knock it out. And Bobby does the same thing with out there. He gets a lot of growth up in certain areas where the grass grows, and it's just, you guys have to mow it or weed eat it, and there's just no way to control it. So what's up, Jason? Jason Engelke just checked in. Sorry, Jason Engelke. I almost reverted back to my old pronunciation. So yeah, so I'm getting stoked. It's just, and it's gonna come fast and furious. So we've been waiting and waiting, and it's like, and then boom, it's gonna be here in September, and we're gonna have 3 quick dates, and finale is here. So looking forward to it, and and looking forward to getting and seeing who can get their points and get on the podium. And I'm stoked about who can get those jerseys, and we're going to get some jerseys. I think Desiree's probably just started thinking about it. We were talking about coloring and different things in the jerseys, so we're going to look at getting those designed and get the orders prepped and ready, and for the race. So I'm looking forward to seeing what everybody can do, and if you guys have any questions about points and scoring and things like that as the finale, thanks, Jason. Jason said I can call him whatever I want. I'm really bad with names, so I'm really stoked when I get them right. So I kind of get stoked for myself about getting your last name right, because I know everybody screws it up. Paul McGinnis Kelly, what's going on? So okay, I'm gonna go on. So I am 26 minutes in, and we've got through the majority of everything. So I don't think there's been any questions here. Just some check-ins. So before I get to my main topic, if you guys have any questions, just pop in. I'm gonna skip out the Facebook, so I may go silent here for just a second or two, because I want to double check and see what a couple of those comments were. I think I saw a couple of questions. I could be mistaken, but I just want to go double check, and then I'll try to address those if necessary. Okay, yeah. Okay, I'm back. So I just had one question, and it was, yeah. So it actually wasn't a question. It was an old question I'd already answered on something else. So never mind. Alex Canada, what's going on? Late checking in. Hey, better late than never. Darren Moore checked in. What's going on, brother? Let me get a little bit of this here. All righty. So you guys and gals all feel welcome to chime in on any topics that you want to add for this next subject. And this next subject is something that I don't know. It may be interesting. Some of the people that have been doing this for a while, this is probably, some of this stuff is probably old stuff, stuff that you're totally aware of. Some of it may be new, but for most of us that do cycling, we use a lot of, computers and technology has just become part of it. It is. Some of us are still old school, and I admit I was old school for the longest time. My good buddy Neil Boyd, who I would still love to come see ride his mountain bike again. So if you guys are out there and you're riding with Neil, tell Neil that the Wizard misses him, and tell the Wizards challenges him to come out and do a mountain bike race. So my buddy Neil Boyd, we raced together for years and years and years and years before he finally just, I think, pretty much just went road. And has not been doing mountain biking. And I swear, Neil is the most technical guy. He had all the bells and whistles, and he knew all the times. And he used to always ask me after every lap, after every pre-ride, Corey, what was your time? How fast was that? How, what can you do? What was your hot lap? And for the longest time, when he knew me and he would always ask me these questions, I did not ride with a Garmin. I had a little odometer, and I didn't even use it. Half the time, I didn't even put it on. I rode with nothing. No heart rate monitor, no odometer. I rode with nothing. So so at first I was like, Neil, I don't know what it was. I didn't time it. I just rode hard. So then after a while, I just started making stuff up. I'd look at, Strava and some other things like that you guys are familiar with, and I'd have an estimation of the time. I just throw out a number, just make it up. And, but since then, the reality of it is to maintain your fitness at certain levels, and not everybody has to do this. A lot of people are just riding bikes and having a good time, but still there's some things that you can do that are fun. But when you're really training, you're really trying to keep track of your data, you're doing lots of things with gravel and mapping. There's a lot of software programs, whether it's on your computer or whether it's on your phone app, that you use all the time. And there's a ton that many of us use. And I'm just going to go through a list and talk about what some of these are. So in case you're unaware of what they are, I mean, some are no-brainers that we're all like, well, duh, of course I know about that. But there's maybe some obscure things that you don't use. And there's maybe some obscure things that you guys use that I don't use. And so I'd love for you guys to chime in and say, hey, this is something that I use, and this is why, and this is what it is. And I'll talk about it. So anyway, so I'm just going to kind of go down a list and talk about some of the things that I use, whether it be on my computer or whether it be on my my phone, for various different things for cycling. And see if you guys are interested, and if you guys have questions about it, then feel free. So, George, what's happening? George checked in again. Yeah, hey, better than late than never. Exactly. You and Alex Canada checked in a little late, but we're all good. Paul Isley, what's happening? Hey, Paul, when you going to come ride mountain bikes again, man? I know you're all healed up. It's been over a year, so I know you got back on the road. But hey, are you going to? I'm really hoping to see you come ride with some mountain bikes again. John Chenault, what's going on? So you guys checked in just in time for the good stuff. So I'm going to start with my list. And I think probably, if this is not the #1 phone app, but you know what's funny is in Oklahoma, you can go almost nowhere in our Oklahoma crew. If you talk about Strava, almost everybody knows what you're talking about. Maybe a few of you don't, so I'll explain. Strava basically is just a program that you can download on your app, on your phones, all different types. You can log in on the computer to it as well too. And it is a way for you to record your rides. But the cool feature of it is not only does it record your rides and all your data, depending on what you have. If you have heart rate, if you have power, distance, elevation, altitude, heat, time, moving time, ride time, average speeds, max speeds, all of the data. And then you can even get a pay package, which I don't do that. I just do the free one. You can get more data, and you get suffer scores, and there's all kinds of data. So there's just cool information. But the thing that, and there's lots of jokes and memes about it, but at the same time, it's one of the coolest things that's made Strava as popular as it is. And that is that you can create segments, and then it compares everybody that does that segment to everybody. It lists everybody. It's like, who's the KOM, the king of the mountain, or the QOM, who's the queen of the mountain, who's got the fastest time, and it lists all the times, and it tells you where your fastest time is. So if you go out and do, Bluff Creek 1-time loop, or 3-time, there's one for 3 times. And then you can go out and just knock that out as hard as you can, and then you can post your ride, and you can look at Strava, and it tells you where you place amongst, the group. So, and you can do that with any segments. Everybody can create segments. I'm the KOM of like several sections out here where I live, but guess what? There's like 3 people that have ridden them. So, I mean, it's not really much of a KOM. So, And then, cool thing is so like, apparently I had a KOM somewhere in Utah for like 6 years from one of my very first hut to hut tours. I raced James Dempsey up a climb out of Paradox Valley. It may have been in Utah. Hell, I don't even know where we were at. Was that still in Colorado? That may have been in Colorado still before we got to Utah. I can't remember. But apparently I had a KOM up some climb because I got a notification this year that I got an email notification that someone took my KOM. I don't know. I didn't even know I had it. So anyway, it's fun. It's cool. It's a great way to measure your rides and measure yourself and see where you are and see what to expect from rides. So anyway, it's fun. It's neat, and it's also very informative. So. Paul Isley soon, man. I love that. I'm love that you're going to come back soon, man. I'd love to see you back in the dirt, and I'm stoked that you're held up because I totally get that being hurt business. That sucks ass. Dealing with that right now. So, Paula, smiley face with hearts in her eyes. Thumbs up. S.A. Smith, Daryl Stilson. Oh, well, Daryl, you must have logged out and logged back in because I know you checked in earlier. Jay-Z, what's happening, brother? Good to see you. Well, I guess I'm not seeing you, but good to see you checked in. So Strava is the biggie. But one of the funny things that I find with Strava is that a lot of times when we're in other states, I mean, even Arkansas, but especially like Colorado, Colorado, New Mexico, Utah. I haven't traveled there too much because Arkansas is so close, but we travel these other places and we mention Strava to people, and so many of these people in other states have no clue. So it's really funny that other people don't. Now, I talked to my friends in Texas, and they're all down with it. So Texas is down with it. Oklahoma's pretty down with it, but I find it funny that some of our other states really have no clue. So Rowan did that. Rowan, you're awesome. Thank you for the smiley face with hearts. I love you. You're gonna have to come ride your little bike with us and come hang out. So, all right. So enough with Strava. I've got several things. Garmin Connect is another. I'm gonna call that pretty quickly. There's a variety of different odometers, I would say, or measuring devices, but it's devices you put on your bike that measures your workout time, speed, all the different things, heart rate, power, whatever you have, and all the different devices. I mean, there's all kinds of different devices that have, and there's complex, there's simple. I mean, there's ones that are like, this big and can provide maps and GPS and can Bluetooth sync as soon as the ride's over, and there's all kinds of stuff. But what I notice here in Oklahoma is that the majority of people, I would say the majority of the people in my world use a Garmin device. Garmin is the company, and it's the type of device that we use. There are other options out there, and we see a few of those kind of floating in. I'm not very familiar with most of them because Garmin is so standard in our region, in our state. I see some other things in other states, but mostly for our surrounding region, whether it be, Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Kansas, Garmin is the thing. Again, there are other devices, but that's the main device. Garmin Connect is a software program. You can get the app, you can use it on the computer that connects your, you plug your Garmin in or you Bluetooth your Garmin and it uploads to Garmin Connect and you have all your data. So it's another way to track your data, track your information. You can get weekly reports, and it's just all data to track what you've done. Again, very cool. I personally, I use both. I use Garmin Connect and Strava. I have mine automated. I have an old crappy 500 from back in the day. I still use it. I have to plug it in because it doesn't have Bluetooth. I plug it in and it automatically uploads because I've got my computer set. It automatically uploads to Garmin Connect. It automatically uploads to Strava. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to type I just plug it in. And I know a lot of you guys can do that through Bluetooth, through your phones. Pretty simple as well too. So So I keep track of my data both ways. One thing that I used to use Garmin Connect for as well, in addition to just keeping track of my data, but internally Garmin Connect has some features, and I used to use Garmin Connect to create routes. So I typically don't do that with a mountain bike, but often with doing gravel or doing long road rides. If I want to map out my road beforehand, if I'm doing some unfamiliar territory, I can create my route on a map using Garmin Connect, and then I can upload it to my Garmin, and then I can plug that map in, and it tells me where to go as I'm riding. So Forrest Smith just checked in, and Forrest is the man. He says Garmin is easy, the industry standard. It is. It really is the industry standard. You know, I think there are some other devices out there that are trying to take little small niches in the market, but we're just really not seeing that. We're just really not. They pretty much own it. Paul, yes, a lot of people are moving to the Wahoo. You're right. I'm seeing Wahoo more and more. And Wahoo not only has their own device, heart rate, as well as trainer, but they also have their own online Wahoo program like Garmin Connect. So very similar. And you're right, Paul. I am seeing more and more people doing Wahoo because it's very inclusive with everything. Tom Euglene, hello, what's happening? Roy Pemberton checked in. Roy Pemberton checked in from Ponca City, but he's commuting. I guess he took a new job in Bartlesville, so guess what? That means we may have some trails in Bartlesville as well as revitalized, as well as our Ponca City trails. So he's going to be doing double duty, I'll bet, because he can't help himself. Alrighty. So I'm going to go to my next one, Map My Ride. There are a variety of different programs like this, but Map My Ride is one that I've gravitated towards. And I used to do mapping with my Garmin Connect, but I've since switched to Map My Ride. And I just love doing my maps with that. So I'm going to give you two programs, actually, because when I do my mapping, I usually use two programs. And here's why. I do my mapping most typically for gravel. I typically don't do it for road because most of the time I just kind of wing it and go. I know how far I want to go, and paved roads are fairly predictable. You know when they're going to end, you know when you can turn, and so you know your distance out and back and whatever. But with gravel, a lot of times it's unpredictable. You never know when you're going to get a mile road that goes through and there's a mile road that stops. You just never really know. So, you got to kind of wing it. Turn this back on. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, you turned it off. So you're gonna, so when I go gravel, I love to map my rides. So I map it out, put it on my Garmin, and then I turn my Garmin on for the route, and the route tells me where to go. It's just because even if I'm familiar with it and I'm doing a slightly different route, you're tired, you're fatigued, and sometimes it's just hard to, when you actually get out there and see the terrain when you're 60 miles in, it's hard to remember if you've got a left or a right, exactly where it's at. So I just like to map it and let my map tell me on my Garmin. So I use two programs to do that. I use Map My Ride because I prefer the way that allows me to create the course, but I also like the way that allows me to save the course. I can make it public and provide that course to other people. I can also make that course available as a download to a GPX, which most of the current Garmins use. If you have an older Garmin, you need a TCX, and there's a special program that I will mention here in a minute that allows you to convert a GPX file into a TCX file if you need that. But that's what I use to map my courses. Now then, one thing that I run into out here in certain areas is that some of my gravel, I run into just random roads. Well, if I'm trying to do gravel, there are random asphalt roads out there, but they're really crappy asphalt roads. So when you're doing the mapping, even if you zoom in on the satellite view, it's really hard to tell whether or not they are gravel or crappy road. I don't like to be on a crappy road. I'd rather be on a gravel. So I double up with Google Earth a lot of times, and I will actually I'll just flip back and forth between my screens. I use Google Earth because it lets you zoom in a little bit further and gives you a little bit clearer picture of the road itself. And I can zoom all the way in, and a lot of times I can see the surface of the road, and I can determine whether or not it's actually gravel or actually asphalt. So I will use a combination of Map My Ride and yeah, I mean, just, you know, Google Earth to see the route. And that's how I map my courses. You create them and save them and upload them to your Garmin, turn them on, run them, and follow them. It's pretty simple. So Philip State and what's happening. George driving back from Wheeler Crit, stuck in traffic. This is better than talk radio. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to get an XM channel anytime soon. Although, man, it would be cool to get paid to do something like this, though. I mean, how awesome would that be? Bob Davis checked in. Bob may actually be home. I think he traveled longer than us, so we ran into him on our trip to Angel Fire, and then he kept going to Montana and all over the place to see family. So Chris Cooper checked in. What's happened to Chris Cooper? I think Chris was planning to Chris was, and several guys were looking at, I think, riding to Wheeler Crit tonight, checking it out, and then riding back. I don't know how that played out, so you guys can chime in. So I'll follow up with another app that I use, and it is called, actually, I'm just going to type it in here, but it's GPS IES. So GPS, where's it at? IES.com. Boom, right there. So that's a little random site. And so what that is because I have an old Garmin 500 that's like, I mean, the old of the old, which, I mean, does everything I need. I can't use a GPX file. Hey, stop. My dog doing crazy stuff again. The GPX doesn't work on my old Garmin 500, so I have to have a TCX. So I use this GPSIES.com. You can create a free account. Doesn't cost anything. There's no advertisements. You just create a login. Simple as that. You log in, and you can, pick your, once you download your GPX file, which if you use Garmin Connect or Map My Ride or whatever you use to create your route. I mean, again, I use Map My Ride. I export my GPX file out to my desktop, and then I go to my GPSIES.com website, and there's a place real easily to do convert, and I choose my file for my desktop, and I tell it what file I want. There's a whole list of all the different conversions that you can do, and there's a variety of different ones, and I choose my TCX, Garmin TCX version, and boom, hit OK, convert, and it automatically converts it, downloads it to my desktop. Boom, I've got my TCX file, I upload it to my Garmin. I'm good to go. Simple as that. So, I mean, that's all I use that for. I simply use that for converting GPX to TCX. Another two that I'm going to mention hand in hand, although I really only use one, but some of my other friends have said that in other states, and I would have to really talk to them about that. My friend Jared Cassidy has given me a really good explanation of that, but honestly, I can't remember off the top of my head. When we travel and do trails, and we do trails that we're unsure about and we're not exactly sure, it's very critical that you know where you're going, you have a map. And our favorite one is MTB Project. MTB Project. If you don't have that, you've got to have it. What's cool about MTB Project is that it is an app that you can put on your phone, and then you can pick where you're going. So I'm going to New Mexico. Boom. I'm going to download the New Mexico maps. You click it. It downloads all the maps for the state of New Mexico and anybody in New Mexico that has put a trail there. Now, there are probably plenty of trails that are not in Mountain Bike Project, but most of the trails are. There's another program that does something very similar to this called Trail Forks. So I think there's some issues with, depending on where you're at geographically, Arizona, Utah, Colorado, Arkansas, Some places use Trail Forks more, and some states use Mountain Bike Project more, but those are the two main ones. And the key with both of these, and Mountain Bike Project is what I love about this, is that many of the places that we go, especially when we're deep in the mountains in Arkansas, way out in the middle of nowhere on the south boundary, in New Mexico, places in, other places like that, you're out in the middle of nowhere, and guess what? You don't have a signal. If you don't have a signal, you can't get a map, right? But the cool thing about MTB Project, and I think Trail Forks is the same way, again, although I don't use Trail Forks, I'm just MTB Project only, is that it downloads the map to your phone. So you don't need a signal to pull up the map. The map is on your phone. But remember, you do not need a signal to get your blue dot. Your blue dot that tells you where you are located does not require a signal, because the GPS will still reach your phone and blue dot you, even though you don't have a signal to pull up an actual map. So you can't pull up your map. Like if you click at your map program or Google Maps, you pull that up and it won't work because you can't get any of that signal from the satellites and all that, but you can still get your GPS blue dot. So you can pull up your MTB Project, no signal. The map is loaded locally on your phone, but GPS will still blue dot you. So I'm distracted because I have a cricket going right here. I know that's going to go hide somewhere before I can get to it. Killing me. That thing chirps tonight. Anyway, sorry. Map is on your phone, blue dot from GPS satellites, boom. So you can be at a intersection of 3 trails. You're out in the middle of nowhere, no signal. You pull up MTB Project, you load your map. You walk up, 100 feet this way, and you're like, oh, that's the way we need to go. Or nope, let's go this way. And you walk up here, and you can see your blue dot move on your phone. And you can really easily navigate when you're totally out in the middle of nowhere, when your map and your signal doesn't work. So super cool program. We use it all the time. If you don't have it, it's a must-have. And one thing to do if you're going, if you've had it for a while though, I recommend deleting your maps or deleting the program and reloading the program and reloading your maps, because as they update the maps, sometimes it requires you to remove the map fully and reload it before it will get the new map. 52 minutes in. Richard Brown, what's happening, brother? I'm going to go pretty quickly on some of the other ones. So, rain outline is a new one. Correct me if I get the terminology wrong, but I have not been using this, and we're still in the initial phases of getting this really, really dialed in. But here in Oklahoma, we have just started this, and I think it's great. I love it, and I'm really going to start pushing this, and I probably need to push this more. But we have an Oklahoma Trail Conditions website. People ask on Tour de Dirt as well, which is fine. But whenever we have rain or we have storms or we have inclement weather, people want to know if they can ride. They want to know. They're not sure. You never really know, because what happens, here may not happen 5 miles over here. And so a lot of people just ask online, and that's fine. But we're trying to make something that's more direct and more, easier to access. And the Trail Forks, I'm sorry, I just looked at my wrong line. The Rain Outline is an app that we're using here in Oklahoma. And we have all the major trails listed with trail bosses listed. And as the trail bosses update, you're going to get it current. So we're still working with that to make sure the trail bosses are more and more Johnny on the spot, so that as soon as there's an issue, or as soon as there's a rain out, or there's a closing, or that's open, or whatever, that they're notifying and letting them know. But anyway, that's a good app to get. Again, Rain Outline. Correct me if I'm getting it slightly wrong. Again, I was running behind, and I wrote these notes in the car on the way home, so I have not had a chance to look them up and verify. Training Peaks is another. So there's a couple more: Training Peaks, Zwift, and Trainer Road. I'm going to cover all three of these. So, at this point, that's really about all I use on my phone. That's about all I use for monitoring my rides, for mapping my rides, and for monitoring where I'm at if I'm on a trail somewhere. But the second big part of that is training. And there's a whole big training portion, especially for us in the winter. Once we hit winter, we start doing trainer rides, and there's a variety of things to do. The main ones that we use, that I think here in Oklahoma we use, are Zwift is one, Trainer Road, and then a lot of these things go back into Training Peaks. Now, Training Peaks is not an actual virtual training program. It is just a way to collect and do training programs, and a lot of coaches in our state use Training Peaks to give out training programs to people. But the way it all works is like a lot of your Garmin and all of your devices are listed. So like if I do a Zwift ride and I save it, it automatically goes to my Strava, and it automatically goes to my Garmin Connect, and it automatically goes to my Training Peaks. And then that way my coach can monitor it. And I can monitor if I'm in the green or if I'm in the red, or if I did the workout properly and I got all the right, I did all the right things. So Training Peaks allows me to monitor my rides and to monitor my workouts, my training workouts, my efforts, as well as for my coach to get information to me and for me to provide that information after I'm completed it to my coach. Whereas the two programs, I see Trainer Road is one that, it's been around a long time. A lot of people still use that, but the new big one is Zwift. And these are basically online training programs. It's kind of like a video game for cyclists. And so you can just go out and free ride with a group of random people online. You have to have a little device that hooks into your computer. You have to have a good enough video card that you can see the training program and the video well enough. Just like a video game, you have to have a good enough video card to support the quality. And you get on your bike and you have to have a certain trainer, and you program the trainer in, you program your weight and all your data. You have a heart rate monitor and or a power meter, and it does the math, and you ride, and it compares your speed and cadence and power, and you can actually ride competitively with other people in a virtual arena. So you're riding your bike on the computer with other people. It's like it's like a video game for cyclists. So I'm not big on just group riding and going out and doing group rides. I know some of our people do. I personally use it only for training. So I go in with my Zwift and I look at my Training Peaks. I find out what my training plan is, and I program in my workout. Because you can go in with a little bar graph and time and watts and all that, and you program in exactly your workout. I save it, and then when I load Zwift, I load my training workout, and I do only my workout. And so I've got my workout, and it tells me along the left-hand side, it says, do this many watts for this long, do this many watts for this long, and it just tells you, it walks you through the training, but you're still out there with people riding. So anyway. So that's what I do. I think Trainer Roads is similar. Again, you're in an environment riding against other people. I think visually it's slightly different, but I've never used it. So I don't know. That's really all that's in my world. I've not seen a lot of you guys pop in and let me know. So it's a good thing I'm winding down, because I think I'm out. I'm down to sips, so that's all I got. So unless there's any comments or questions or any other things that you want to throw out, I'm going to go ahead and close up shop. You guys can check in later, and if you guys want to post some links up, I'll probably go ahead and post some links up to all the things that I mentioned here, just so that you can go to them. Anyway. Hope that was a good discussion, and hope you guys enjoyed. And if there's things that, like I said, you want to add or you guys use that are important, that you really dig, let me know. I'd love to talk about them, love to check them out. And if you have questions about the ones I've mentioned, hit me up. So closing out. It's late. I got started late. So see you guys later.